Hello, welcome. So great to see everybody tonight. Chimipsua, Soksabai, it's how we say it in Cambodia. Uh, I see Chalet in the house and Lemoyne in the house. That's great. Thank you for being here right on time. So I know the Ramble night is probably one of the funnest nights because we just like talk about anything. So I put in the description or well the title Delphi because I thought maybe we could start there, and of course rambling just goes anywhere. And so yeah, a lot of things have been happening um, with Delphi in the last week. Uh, and I think we don't even need to go into like any evidence of the case or anything like that. I noticed that the true crime community is very divided on whether they believe Richard Allen is guilty or innocent. And quite frankly, I think at this point, that's not even the issue anymore. I mean, Libby and Abby need justice. They need whoever killed them uh, to be brought to justice. And if that's Richard Allen, fine. But one thing that's for sure is things are fishy in that court. Uh, you know what? It is Halloween for me right now. Happy Halloween. Um, absolutely. it's 9 o'clock on Halloween night for me. I know it's just the morning, just gearing up for those of you in the U.S. Um, and I hope you have great plans. And I didn't even decorate this year. I thought about it, um, and there was even some talks, because we're in a gated community, and there are a lot of kids that live in this gated community. Um, some people had talked about like, oh, should we, plan some kind of trick or treating thing for the for the community, and but nothing ever came of it. So I didn't buy any candy or anything. And I don't know, I've been inside my house all day. So, uh, not all day, but I mean, all evening. Um, so as far as I know, there weren't any trick or treaters out and about. Uh, you're so festive. Oh, that's wonderful. That's one. You know what? I have boxes, and I probably have more Halloween decorations than I have Christmas decorations. I mean, if you, as far as space and the number of boxes with decorations, and I'm like a Christian that like is kind of like, oh, Halloween's evil, you know, but still, it's a great holiday. They were all pagan holidays that were just adapted, um, and Halloween just didn't really get adapted as well as Christmas and Easter did. Being out in the country, you don't have trick or treaters. Yeah, for sure. Um, I wonder if they'll be. And my mom says that that there's a lot, that it's dwindled. The number of trick or treaters that actually come to her house have dwindled over the years. Um, so not here. Uh, you mean you do have trick or treaters, or you don't have trick or treaters? Chalet, that's Chalet's first time at this house, and you hear the neighborhood rocks it hard. Cool. Did you decorate outside so that everybody kind of knows that you're a participating kind of person? It'll be fun. You'll have to let us know how it goes next week, if you remember, or do a little short or something, and let us know. So anyway, Delphi, yes, people are so divided. But so what's been happening? And I mean, do you guys want to talk about Delphi? We should talk a little bit, and then like we could just spend the night talking about Halloween. The churches here do Halloween gatherings. Yeah, I belong to churches in the past that, like, you just no evil witch or ghost or zombie kind of stuff, but you got to be like animals or Bible characters and things like that. And then they dress up and have a harvest festival. Usually churches will have a harvest festival. So we could spend the night talking about Halloween. I didn't even think about it that it was Halloween day. Andy's in the house. Andy's in the house. Hey, hey. But I did put Delphi in the title, so I kind of feel like we should at least touch base a little bit on what happened this week for anybody who like joins in the replay or something, or pops in tonight while it's live and it's, oh, they're talking about Delphi, right? You're in the office listening today. All righty. Well, that's good. That's better than being out on the road in the weather. So last week, right, you had the defense attorneys for Richard Allen went before the judge, and there was supposed to be a hearing. It was televised. The judge comes out and says, well, they've both left the case. So we're not going to have a hearing today because they both left and I have to appoint new attorneys. And everybody, not just like everybody was talking. Why did they leave? Blah, blah, blah. Well, a couple days later, they file a motion. Rosie, because there's two guys, Rosie and another one. They file with the court papers. What was the motion? I can't remember the exact type of the motion, but they wanted the judge to be investigated and possibly removed from the case. And they outlined everything in this particular document, which, by the way, 2 hours after this was filed, the judge ordered the clerk to remove it from the court records, citing that, well, they were no longer the attorneys, so they therefore had no right to file anything. And then she also appointed 2 new attorneys. But this was filed first, right? And so there's a lot of people talking, lawyer type people talking about the fact that, like, you can't just erase court documents. This was a document that was filed. It's part of the court record. And anyway, so what it said, it explained that on that previous meeting, when they went into the judge's chambers before that hearing, the judge basically gave them an ultimatum that either they step down voluntarily as the attorneys for Richard Allen, or she will publicly humiliate them with all the cameras. So it really appears that the reason why she allowed the cameras, Lemoyne, the whole Delphi drama is FUBAR, absolutely. And Andy watched the original Halloween movie last night, and Halloween ends, but only the first half. Okay, we're going to talk about Halloween after we talk about Delphi. So so it appears that she only allowed the cameras in to have this leverage with them. Otherwise, she wouldn't have even allowed the cameras in the courtroom, right? Is that the case or not? I don't know, but it appears that way. So they, in this motion that they filed, they described that happening, and that Richard Allen has been informed of everything, and he's got a written letter, a written statement saying that he wants them to continue as his attorneys, and basically unless an attorney has done something like illegal, then they cannot be removed once they've been assigned and a bond has been, they talk about a bond has been established between the attorney that's a public defender and the defendant. The court has no standing to break that bond. And so, but she did, and there was no illegal action. Now, some of there for anyone who doesn't know, there had been some leaked crime scene photos, and apparently the two public defenders have two separate offices, right? And Rozzy's office is separate from the other guy. I can't remember his name's office. And that other guy had allowed someone who had been a friend in to his office, use some space on the computer, use some office space or whatever. And this guy had taken pictures of the crime scene photo. So he didn't like download or save or anything, but he took pictures of the crime scene photos. And so would it be reasonable? Did the lawyer take reasonable effort to secure those photos so that a leak wouldn't happen? How did this guy get a hold of them? So that would be up to debate, right? Whether or not he took enough action to secure documents and files related to the case. But Rozzy had absolutely nothing to do with it. So she has absolutely no grounds to break that bond. But she did. Not to mention pulling a stunt of, either you guys step down or I'm going to publicly humiliate you on live TV. So under duress, they agreed to step down. One signed. Rozzy did not sign anything, said he would file something in the next day or two, which then is the paper that he filed explaining all the misconduct, basically, the misconduct and the bias by this judge. Then there was an attorney for the other public defender that filed a motion similarly. And now the last thing that happened today is that 3 lawyers that are not involved in this case at all filed with the Supreme Court of Indiana to have this situation investigated for the Supreme Court to look at what's going on. And the Supreme Court responded saying, we have received this and the parties have until November 9th to submit any further documents to the Supreme Court for the consideration. So, woo, it's heating up on that side of things. And for me, what all of this means to me is that something fishy is going on. What are they trying to They're trying to cover up something. If Richard Allen did it and they've got evidence for that and that hasn't been revealed yet, and all of this is a big stunt by the defense. Well, it's a big stunt, but legally you're right. I mean, they didn't do anything against the law. So why are they trying to shut them down? And the people, the public defenders that they've put in place, that they've chosen to replace them, sketchy. You can go watch other people's videos to find out all the details. But yeah, sketchy. So something is rotten in Denmark there in Indiana with this case. And I just, my heart goes out to the families of Libby and Abby, because it's been 7 years since they've had to deal with the deaths. And now they were finally getting to a point that they thought that maybe something would be happening with the courts to get some justice. And it's so off the rails. When are they ever going to get the justice that they deserve? And if it's not Richard Allen, if it's one other person or a group of other people, who is going to investigate and find the truth? What law enforcement, what detectives, what attorney general, who's going to investigate and find out who really did it, if it is somebody else? Big mess. So that's the big update on Delphi. And Idaho 4, nothing like kind of new has happened, but people are still talking, that it's the parallels kind of between them are very interesting. But I didn't want to get into Idaho 4 unless you guys want to ramble about it. But okay, Halloween. We want to talk about Halloween. Does anybody want to come up on deck here and and join me on the screen? I'll put this here. Andy's in the office. So he probably. Anyway, I'm adding the link there. Okay, Lemoyne, you can come on if you want. So have some banter back and forth. Make sure we talk about Halloween. There you are. Get you to the stage. Hey. Got everything turned on?
Yep.
Okay, there you go. I can hear you.
That's good.
So I remember with Halloween, being about 12 years old, 11, 12 years old, and getting dressed up and making the rounds in the neighborhood and scouting out which houses had the best candy. Some people, they'd even give you money, like a quarter or something. Oh, Andy's coming up too.
Hey, you guys. Hey, you guys. I don't know if you can see, but this is the office.
Oh, wow.
Today.
Hi, everybody.
And here's Ed.
Yep.
Who's that?
Hi.
Paul. There we go.
Who's that?
That's the live chat.
Live chat.
You are live chat to Bangkok, to Phnom Penh.
Yes, I'm in Cambodia.
Cambodia.
And Lemoyne's in Texas, right?
Yeah, in Texas.
Hello, Cambodia. Goodbye, Cambodia.
Okay, bye-bye.
All right. I got to cut out for right now, but I just wanted to check in for a minute.
Oh, thank you so much. It's so great to see you. And Shalay saying howdy too. All righty. So I made the first rounds and scouted out all the houses with the best candy. Went and changed my costume and went around again to the best. Then I only went to the best houses. Then I changed again and made a third round. Oh, goodness. It's probably my favorite memory of Halloween. Yeah. Do you have a memory, Lemoyne?
Oh, me and a friend of mine, we would go out, we'd get dressed up and what have you, usually made our own costumes. Then we would go out and we would probably cover 3-4 miles just going house to house to house to house. It was just me and him. I think a couple years when we were like 4th, 5th grade, our parents went, but after about, 6th, 7th grade, so it was about 7th grade last year we did it, but the last couple of years it was just, us going and we enjoyed making our own costumes. His mother sewed, my mother sewed, so that worked out.
Mm-hmm. Oh, so you like made some you're not talking about cutting 2 holes in a sheet.
No,
Have we all had 2 holes in a sheet?
at some point.
Yeah, I know. Chalet says that kids today are lazy because we used to not come back until our pillowcase was full.
Yep.
Yes. Who's used a pillowcase?
I think most of us have, not all of us.
For sure. You know, of course, then there was the plastic pumpkin, candy thing. Yeah. You can only hold so much in that. And then remember the little kind of like little plastic suits with the little plastic face, that was always hard to breathe through. I always felt hot.
We never got never got any of those growing up.
Yeah. I had a few, not every year, but I had a few.
Yeah.
I don't remember which one. Maybe Snow White or something.
Yeah. I think my parents figured it was cheaper to make them than buy them.
Yeah. Snow or no snow. Yeah, the end of October is iffy. Andy says rural farms out here. So there was a trick or trunk at the community parks. Folks would hand out candy. Yeah. Oh, cool. So everyone would, so instead of going to the houses, you would go from car to car to car. Yeah. People would open their trunks, and that would be like their station to pass out the candy.
Sam Houston State University does that.
Okay. Mm-hmm. I know used to be, I think I remember in the 80s when, or 90s, it would have to be the 90s, when my kids were old enough to trick or treat, the malls sometimes would open up.
Yeah.
And people would walk around. So it was supposed to be like a safe place. Yeah, my grandkids had a trunk or treat last weekend. Okay. Tonight's the real deal. Yeah.
Now the Sam Houston State, the fraternities and the sororities get together, and at the football stadium, they get out there and they have like little concessions, and it's kind of like a tailgate for kids.
Right. Yeah. Oh, that's cool.
Yeah,
that's cool. So Chalet, what kind of candy are you going to pass out? Because I think that Lemoyne and I have established that there's not going to be trick-or-treaters at our house, but you're expecting a big bash. So what'd you get? I want to know, are you passing out Snickers or candy corn or what? Gotta let us know.
Find out.
Do you have a favorite candy that you like to get, Lemoyne?
Probably Reese's Cups.
Yeah, those are good.
Yeah, like M&Ms.
Yeah. And of course, that they had the little Reese's Cups that were made only at Halloween. Oh, look at that. Mm-hmm. My friend Sherry has this recipe in Ohio called Buckeyes. And so you mix the peanut butter with flour, I guess, maybe some sugar, and you roll it into a ball, and then you dip it in chocolate. And and those taste exactly like Reese's, to be honest. They're so good.
We used to me and my father take peanut butter cookies and freeze them, then dip them in the magic shell or drizzle it on them.
Right. Oh, sweet.
Yeah. Now my father had a real big sweet tooth for the combination of peanut butter and chocolate.
Yeah. It's a good one. But Chalet, what? Oh, you ordered it from Amazon. It better come today. If not, you're heading to the store. Oh my gosh. But what did you order? Is it chocolate based or what? It's not candy corn. Okay. I love candy corn.
I'm sorry.
Not so much the pumpkins, but the candy corn.
Mm-hmm.
Not that that would have been my favorite thing. I mean, chocolate, getting chocolate, that was like the best, you know, to trick or treat and get chocolate. Chalet says this. Chalet and I tell you, we think the same. She says, I like all the chocolate.
See,
Oh,
when I
goodness.
was growing up, the community we were in, we also got things like the homemade popcorn balls, caramel covered
Yeah,
apples, and stuff like that.
sure. You know,
Yeah,
well, I remember getting fruit like an apple
yeah.
or something, but yeah, popcorn balls. Yep.
Hmm.
You know, those are good. Those are yummy. If anybody doesn't know what that is, you just go look it up. Popcorn balls.
Yeah,
You know, back when you could actually make things, you know, um, you could make cookies or something and put them in a little baggie and
yeah,
hand them out or whatever. You can make homemade things, but now, you know, people, they're afraid of poison or razor blades or whatever. I mean, a lot of times hospitals offer free x-ray. I mean, I remember before I came to Cambodia, so like that was 16 years ago, you know,
yeah,
but the hospitals would offer free x-rays of the candy so that you can make sure there were no pins or razor blades or something stuck in them.
yeah.
Sad, sick for people to do that kind of thing.
Actually, from what I understand, things I've read, yes, it happens, but it's not near as much as the media portrays it.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah. When you think of you know, hundreds of thousands of houses, well,
Hmm.
millions probably
Yeah.
across the whole US, you know, you might have two or three, you know, situations with that, or even just
Yeah.
one in a year. But that's all
It-
it takes to scare people.
and and most of the time, or at least all the ones that I know about in Texas, was somebody poisoning their own children.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Mm. Mm-mm-mm. Well, Chalet says she likes gummy bears and Skittles and stuff like that.
Gummy bears are good. I like gummy bears.
Yeah. I like jelly beans, like the Jelly Belly jelly beans.
Yeah.
Those are good. I like licorice. Not so
Yeah.
many people like licorice, like black licorice.
Yeah. It's like my wife cannot stand black licorice, and I love it.
Oh yeah.
Then again, she doesn't like the aniseed, which gives licorice its flavor.
Right.
She doesn't care for that particular flavor, so she doesn't
Mm.
care for licorice in general.
Wow. So she wouldn't like all those after dinner drinks, the pastis, the ouzo, sambuca. I think those are all those anise based.
Yeah, no, she wouldn't.
Hmm. Yeah. Oh well. Chalet says sometimes she would get pennies, but that was lame.
There was an old lady at the top of the street where we lived who
Yeah.
gave silver dollars, like
Wow.
the old school, like the big, like the Eisenhower silver dollars.
Wow.
Yeah,
That's cool.
yeah.
I wonder how many people, how many kids she had come by.
Yeah. I don't
I mean,
know.
that's 20 kids, $20, 100 kids, $100.
Yeah.
You know.
But yeah, that's what she gave out. Or at least that's what she always gave, what I got every year.
Right. She might have had two different baskets kind of thing,
Yeah.
or whatever, you know.
Yeah.
Like, oh, I don't know these kids. I'll let them take some chocolate.
Yeah. But
Oh, here comes Lemoyne. Good little Lemoyne. Let me get a silver dollar out of my pocket for him.
yeah. And
That's sweet. That's sweet.
we also had there's a couple houses that gave out the little pamphlet things for the Mormon church.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, we got those. We used to read those and make fun of them.
Yeah, yeah. Tracks. I used to call them tracks.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, the gummy bears and Skittles and stuff is what she bought to hand out that she's waiting to arrive from Amazon.
Yeah. No. We got our first cold front of the year.
Ooh, really?
Yeah.
Just
Yeah.
some frost?
Huh?
Frost?
No frost. It won't get that cold later this week, but Sunday morning I was out doing yard work in shorts and a t-shirt at like 8:30, and by noon I had on a parka and gloves and long pants. That's how
Oh my
that
goodness.
when that front came in, it came in fast and it came in hard.
Wow. That's amazing sometimes when you look at the sky and you can actually see the front as
Yeah.
it's moving across the sky.
Yeah.
Oh, she's saying the silver dollars would have been awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think quarters was the biggest
Yeah.
thing that I remember. Yeah, so you got your cold weather moving in. Yeah, the thing about Cambodia is like it doesn't change that much. I mean, there's like hot, like hot and humid. Like, okay, I spent my summers growing up in Georgia.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So I know hot and humid. Very similar to like Florida, the East Coast, that hot and humid. And I swear to you, it is not that bad. That was worse than Cambodia's weather. And then in January to February, there's usually 2 weeks where we'll get cold weather, which is like dropping into the 70s Fahrenheit, like the low 70s.
Yeah.
Maybe like 69 or something, just touching the high 60s. And the government will issue warnings to protect the elderly and babies because, they're afraid of them dying from the
Yeah.
cold. And it does feel cold. I'm wearing a sweater, a flannel, a jacket, whatever, which is great because it gives me an opportunity once a year to be able to, pull those, you have a favorite sweater or a favorite quilted flannel or something. And I get to wear those, but in fact, last year, if I recall, it was like 5 weeks. I
Wow.
mean, instead of just 2 weeks, it was like cold for a long time. And but that's okay. I mean, so yeah, 70 is cold for me now. It's
Because
hot in Florida today.
I like to tell people from other states that in Texas water freezes at 70 degrees.
Yeah. I got to remember that for Cambodia. Water freezes at 70 degrees. Yeah, Chalet agrees that 70 is chilly. Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree. You're going to have to come over and visit sometime, Chalet. You're welcome to Lemoyne. You
I
see
just hop in a
Angkor Wat.
car and pop over that way.
Yeah, I don't know that you make it in the car.
Might get a little wet.
Yeah, unless it's one of those duck cars
Mm.
or something. The body acclimates. It does. It does for
Yeah.
sure. Of course, I grew up in California, so for me, the weather is very much like California. Oh goodness.
Yeah. But back when we were growing up, did California have wildfires? Because I don't have any memories growing up of hearing about the wildfires in California. It's just been in like the last 20 or so years.
Yeah. Well, I think that there wasn't as much development in the wooded areas.
Yeah.
You got small towns, I mean, Lake Tahoe's always been there, right? And it was always something that was just expected
Yeah.
because the rangers in California know and understand that the ecosystem needs that fire
Mm-hmm.
to clear the brush and to actually activate some of the seeds
Mm-hmm.
need the fire to activate them, and so that you can have new growth.
Mm-hmm.
And when you don't, yeah, if you don't clear things and stuff, then um, it's just like it's a natural process, and lightning
Yeah.
usually would start them. But they wouldn't, it was usually in very remote areas. They would just burn themselves out, or, with a little bit of action. I mean, we had
Yeah.
firefighters, they would do whatever action they needed. The California Conservation Corps and things, they would be called out and called upon. And it didn't encroach on people
Mm-hmm.
because people weren't living in these areas. It was usually remote areas.
Yeah.
So, I mean, in Los Angeles, I mean, Malibu, every few years, maybe like every 10 years or something, they would get hit with a fire where
Mm-hmm.
people were trying to save their houses.
Yeah.
So yeah, they would, but not usually every year.
Yeah. I remember the mudslides. I remember growing up and hearing about the mudslides on the news, but it just
Mm-hmm.
seems like it's been since about 2000, 2001 that you hear about the wildfires all the time.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Well, Andy's from Mount Shasta area, and so he's saying that there used to be one or two big fires like every
Mm,
year. I'm sure he's talking
yeah.
about, and now it's a lot all the time.
Yeah.
And I think that there used to be as well a very distinct fire season.
Yeah.
The time of year when there would be those thunderstorms that would have the lightning and would ignite the fires. And now it's like it's year round. You could have a fire anytime.
Yeah.
Yeah. And Chalet was saying my mom's not coming back to Cambodia. But that's only because she doesn't want to be on the flight. She thinks she's getting too old for the flight, even though she flies business class. How can you be too old for business class? No, I don't buy that. Oh. That's like saying you're too old to go to bed, right? I mean, if you're in business class, you could just lay there and chill the whole time.
Yeah. Watch watch a movie or a TV show or.
Yeah. Then your feet are up, so you don't have because when you're in economy and you're sitting there, your circulation can really suffer
Yeah.
in your legs, and that can be dangerous.
Yeah.
But if you're in business class, you don't have that problem because your feet are up.
I don't think I've ever seen business class, to be honest with you.
Yeah. Well, now, oh my goodness. I mean, it used to just be that the seats were wider and they might have like footrests on them.
Mm-hmm.
And you got served better food, things like this, where now it's like you've got these little cubicles.
That's
so it's quite
interesting.
an experience to fly on business class now.
Yeah.
But the difference in price was like from California to here, for economy would be around $1,000, $1,200. And you can get that little premium economy, which I highly recommend if you're flying economy.
Mm-hmm.
It would be like maybe $1,500. So you're paying a couple $100 extra. But it's so worth it because then you do have some footrests and a little bit wider chairs and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But business class, then you're jumping up to $3,000 to $5,000.
Mm-hmm.
So it's quite a jump in price. And then first class is like $10,000 or something.
Yeah.
Something outrageous. It's crazy.
Yeah. It's outrageous, but they treat you like a god.
Yeah. But it's really just the first couple of seats of business class.
Yeah.
Anyway. It's worth it though to be able to say that you saw Angkor Wat.
Yeah.
you know.
What's the flight time from Cali to Cambodia?
About 11 hours.
Okay.
So yeah, it's quite a flight. I think that includes stopping. Usually you'll stop either in South Korea, in Taiwan, or in Hong Kong. And I used to fly Eva Air, and
Mm-hmm.
then which stops in Taipei, and to change flights. And then I started going, like after I moved here, I would go to Hong Kong every year for a film expo kind of thing. And
Mm-hmm.
so then I started to realize that the airport and everything is like the whole system is really great. So I would get like a 7 hour layover,
Mm-hmm.
and then I would take the train from the airport in. I wouldn't go all the way into Hong Kong.
Mm-hmm.
Stop in Kowloon is like actually in a mall. And so I would go to the movie theater and watch movies and stuff,
Cool.
a nice big bookstore, and get some, book or two,
Mm-hmm.
uh, and just relax like that. I don't like to rush from gate to gate if I can avoid
Yeah.
it. Um, so then Cathay Pacific became my airline that I would always fly.
Yeah.
Mm. So that's
So I,
me.
I know when I was a little kid, we would fly to visit my mom's family in Seattle. And I was
Mhm.
always fascinated by the fact that when we left Texas, we got to Seattle right about the same time we left Texas because of the two
Oh, cool.
hour.
Right. That happens because as you've noticed, we're basically 12 hours different.
Yeah.
Just change the AM PM. But because it's like an 11, 12 hour flight, when you're flying from Cambodia to the US, you're actually like arriving the day before,
Yeah.
or like on, yeah, so it's like you could have two Christmases or two New Years or something.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, it's kind of interesting. Coming out this way, you're losing time, but
Yeah.
going that way, you're actually getting an extra day practically.
Yeah. That's cool.
Yeah. Yeah. And flying from here to Europe is about the same, maybe 14 hours.
Mm.
And but some of the flights, I guess they just fly slower, and they
Yeah.
can be like 13 to 14 hours. But
Uh,
I mean, I've been on flights that were 11 hours. Or
pro-
maybe it's the flight to Hong Kong is 11 hours, and then
yeah.
you have like a 2.5 hour flight from Hong Kong to Cambodia.
Yeah. But no, it's see, I don't know. I have enough trouble sitting still for like 2 hours. I don't know on something like that if I'd be like pacing the aisle and upsetting the stewardesses and
I usually get like into movies because you can watch
yeah,
like at least 3 movies,
yeah,
you know, because there's always, and now, I mean, there's like, I remember the days when there was an actual screen at the front of each section. So depending on where your seats were, you could see it or not, and then you get the little headphones that you plug into the armrest, and if
yeah,
you wanted to like hear the sound to go with the movie, and you so that the movie that they played was the movie you got to see,
yeah,
and their little magazines, their Skybook magazines that were in the pouch of the seat, they would list, okay, for the month, this flight going eastbound is this movie, and going
yeah,
westbound is that movie. You know, yeah, those were good days. And so then you'd have to they didn't have like online booking back then either.
Yeah.
So you'd have to either call the airline or use a travel agency in order to book your flights. And, if you were interested in watching the movies, you wanted to make sure that you got a seat as close to the screen as possible. Otherwise, you wouldn't be able to see it very well. And so people wanted to sleep. It's better for them to be far away.
Yeah. I like having a window seat over the wing for some reason.
Mm.
I
I've
don't
always
know.
been told that's like the most stable part of the airplane,
Yeah.
structurally. But I don't know if that's still true or not. Because some planes have the wings in the middle and some planes kind of have the wings more toward the back and stuff. But I've always enjoyed looking out a window and looking at the ground, you know,
Yeah.
and figuring out where we are in the air. Because you didn't have those. I mean, now in the seat, because you've got every seat's got a monitor, right?
Yeah.
And you can click on the flight status kind of thing, and it'll show you exactly where you are. Where before it used to be the pilot would come on and say, well, if you look out to the left, you could see the Grand Canyon or something.
Yeah.
And if they didn't point something out, you didn't know where you were.
Yeah.
Chalet says that a pilot told her that just behind the wing is the best place. Yeah, that's what I was thinking, that I heard some new information on that, where I had always learned it was, and it may have been true 20 years ago, because
Yeah.
aviation, has made progress in 20 years, right?
Yeah.
I used to fly from San Francisco to Georgia to Atlanta a lot. And then my dad also had family in Florida. So sometimes we would fly to Daytona and then go visit my dad with his family and go to Disney. I was at Walt Disney World the year it opened. And so not all of the rides were available. But, yeah.
Went to Epcot, I think, the first year it was open. Yeah.
Yeah.
Early 90s, somewhere in there.
Yeah, I remember them like building it. I don't know if it was open yet or not. And then my dad, I had two half sisters, and so he wanted to take them to Disneyland or Disney World. And so we drove down on a trip, and so I was like 17. I was a senior in high school.
Yeah.
So it was a whole different perspective. I bought some perfume called Replica, and from the little Main Street perfumery.
Yeah.
And I loved it. I absolutely loved it. And you can't find it anywhere. I don't think it's even being produced anymore. But a few years, I was a young mother, so like in my 20s, there was like a mail order thing that had it, a shop, and back when you actually like had like old school mail order, not like Amazon, and so I was able to buy one more. So I've bought it like twice in my life, when I was 17, and then one more bottle, and you can't get it anymore. And I have that bottle, but I rarely use it. So
have you looked on eBay for it?
Yeah, that would be the only way of, like, if somebody had a used bottle that's half full or something, is probably the only way you can get it.
Yeah,
but I love Shalimar. I can't find Shalimar anymore. I can't believe they discontinued Shalimar.
Because there's a perfume my wife likes that smells really good that she has to order off eBay because it hasn't been made in like 20 years.
Right. Exactly. That's the way this one is.
And what she finds is like people that had like little businesses or whatever that are going out of business, that she picks it up from. Or like wholesale lots and stuff like that.
Right. Wow. Yeah, that's cool. that would be a good way to get a bottle of Shalimar,
Yeah.
because it's like super expensive too,
Uh,
you know. But it used to be like at all the duty free shops, they always had Shalimar. I can't find it. I don't see it anywhere. But that's a nice smell too. I like that. A
yeah.
nice scent. Chalet, do you have a favorite perfume? Go ahead, Lemoyne, while we're waiting for Chalet to answer.
No, I forget the name of the perfume it is. She doesn't wear it very, very often. Usually, like if we're going to go out on a date, go to a nice dinner or something, or we're going to a wedding or something like that, she'll wear it. But every time she gets a chance to get some more, she will.
Hmm.
But
Yeah. Stock up on it while you can.
I'm going to run grab me something to drink real quick. I'll be right back.
Okie dokie. And I remember for Christmas every year, I used to buy my mom this perfume or like sometimes it was like a powder, like a perfumed powder with a big puff thing. And I don't know, seem to think it began with a J, like Jardin or something like that. I don't know. And so every year I would get that for her as a kid growing up. And then it turns out, then she told me like years later that like she hated that thing, that smell. She hated it. And I didn't know that. I was getting it for her every year. I thought I was being so special. But of course she accepted it. She didn't tell me all those years because she appreciated that I was thinking of her. Crazy times, crazy times. So what about Halloween movies? Andy said he was watching Halloween. I remember, gosh, must have been in the 70s, like 78 or something. Like I was junior high-ish. And I remember Halloween and Friday the 13th, just going back to the cinema and watching it again and again, watching it more than once. As a teenager, you love Scoundrel, but they don't make it anymore. And Victoria's Secret has a really good body spray or something. Can't remember what it was, a gift. But yeah, you're not big into perfume. Yeah, I rarely, like I said, I still have that bottle that I got when I was in my 20, like 30 years. I had the same bottle, and it's like 3/4 full. Yeah. So I used to watch Creature Features, which would play all those B movies. So even though I wasn't growing up in the 50s when those B movies were being made, like The Blob and Creature of the Black Lagoon, and things like that, I certainly did grow up getting to watch those movies, not in the cinema, but on TV, on the Creature Features show.
We used to watch Elvira, Mistress of the Dark.
Yeah, Elvira. I saw a documentary about her. She did a really amazing branding of herself.
Oh yeah.
Before people branded themselves as a brand, she did that.
Yeah. And she's I've seen interviews with her and stuff, and we've probably seen the same documentary, but I've seen interviews and stuff with her. She's actually an extremely intelligent woman.
Yeah. 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 It's totally a persona.
Yeah. And
Chalet says she likes her husband's obsession. And speaking of male scents, I always like Old Spice. I always like that.
I usually, for like aftershaves and stuff, I use whatever's cheap.
Yeah, she mentioned that. She mentioned that a minute ago. Cheap stuff. It's probably why I don't have Shalimar. But I remember going through the airport and like spraying some on because you had testers. Or if you go through Macy's would have it. Higher end department stores.
Yeah, the higher end. I know the mall in Killeen. when I was growing up had like a Bell's and a couple of the other stores like that. You
Hmm.
had the perfume snipers. The girls
Oh,
behind the counter. Yeah.
as you're walking by, it's like,
Yeah. Yeah. I remember those.
yeah,
Yeah.
for
Yeah.
sure. I always dodge them. Can't stand. Chalet says she can't stand it when people pour it on. Yeah, me
Oh
too.
yeah.
Yeah.
I have found, at least in this area, the college kids, the college girls, very rarely, if ever, use any kind of heavily scented perfume. It's more of
Mm.
a scented body wash.
Mm. Hmm. I see those sold in the store. I never buy anything like that.
And no, my wife prefers, she has one that she gets. I don't know where she gets it from. It's a cherry blossom scent,
Ooh, nice.
but it's real mild.
Mm-hmm.
You've got to be like extremely close to smell it.
Mm-hmm.
Probably closer than what's socially acceptable.
Mm-hmm. Well,
And
I have like a particular brand of shampoo that I like because I like the smell of it. It's called Amplify by Matrix, which is by L'Oreal.
yeah.
But and sometimes you get it at Costco or whatever. But pretty much it used to be at like beauty supply shops.
Hmm.
But it's hard to find now too. My mom's having a hard time finding it. It is on Amazon. She could order it on Amazon, have
Yeah.
it delivered to her house, and then like bring it over with her. Or she says she's not going to come anymore, but whatever. Send it in a care package, I guess.
Um, yeah,
Obsessed.
Amazon is kind of like a digital Pike Street Market.
Yeah, it's got everything.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I guess if if you're a business, even if you have a brick and mortar store,
Yeah.
you want to have that availability that people can order on Amazon, because otherwise you're going to get left behind on those sales of people that
Yeah.
don't want to go out anymore.
If you like Walmart, I know like Walmart, Academy, and several other places have their own online
Mm.
stores.
Well, I know some of them too, like like a Walmart where you can order it online for pickup.
Oh, that's how we do our groceries.
Yeah, yeah, that's cool.
because because I am the world's worst. Like before that became big in this area, me and my wife would go grocery shopping, and I am the world's worst at seeing something, go, oh, that looks good, putting it in the cart. We go to check out, we got 80 more items than we intended.
I like to see if there's something that's on sale, or something, a product that's maybe new that I've never tried before. And plus, like running into people, if it's a smaller town, you run into people that while you're there and chit chat, It's an experience. Not I mean, but sometimes I'm the type that's like, I just need a bottle of a jug of milk or whatever,
Yeah.
right? I go, I get it, I'm out. I can be both ways.
Well, usually what we do is our core groceries, our weekly groceries, milk, meat, the necessities. We do the curbside pickup.
Mm.
Now, for specialty items like, say, cookies or something like that, we'll actually
Hmm.
go in and look,
Yeah.
you know,
See what tickles your fancy today.
yeah.
Yeah.
And I've done that. I've been I've thought about dinner, get up and go, hey, I want this. We don't have it, so I'll run in and grab it real quick.
Hmm.
But yeah, too much. I had too much extraneous spinning doing the when I
Yeah,
went to the
you gotta be careful.
yeah.
Chalet had mentioned that you should spray your perfume in the air and then like walk through it. Yes, that's one technique I've seen.
Mm-hmm.
And then Andy mentions he remembers Jovan Musk for men. I remember hearing that. I don't remember what it smells. It's a musky scent, right?
No.
But yeah, I remember that name. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. I've never been real big on stuff like that as far as putting it on myself.
Mm. Well, the replica I have, I don't think it has a spray, top on it. So I
Yeah.
think you have to like get it on your finger and then like put it on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah. Yeah, I've seen my wife do that dance.
Yeah. I mean, Avon had a lot of good scented products, whether it was soaps or shampoos or perfumes, especially
Yeah.
at Christmas time. And then those little, shaped bottles like cars or whatever,
Yeah. Cars,
you bring
boats.
in a boat, a car, a
Yeah.
horse, whatever.
Yeah.
Those were always a standard gift item.
Yeah. And I always liked my sister would get the little Avon little like sampler lipsticks.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. My little sister got those.
Yeah.
And
I remember being really little and somebody, I don't know who, gave me this like set of little it wasn't really perfume as much as it was toilet water kind of thing. It was like scented water. And it was all the different flowers. So there was rose, lilac, honeysuckle, jasmine, you name it. It was like all these, there was at least a dozen. And I had so much fun playing with opening them and putting a little on, and smelling all the different ones, I think that's where Jasmine being my name, my daughter Jasmine. I painted the name Jasmine on my guitar. I mean, so I think it came from that, being my favorite. But there was also another one, a purple one, like, I don't know if it was lilac. Maybe it was lilac. I'd have to smell it again. Of course, lavender's very common, but it was an uncommon one that I also enjoyed that one a lot too. Maybe lilac.
yeah. Though I have a fondness for both patchouli and sandalwood.
Oh, I love patchouli. Patchouli keeps fleas away. For anybody that has to deal with fleas, you can dot patchouli around and the fleas will go away.
Did not know that. I know cedar keeps a lot of bugs away.
Yeah, that's true. That's why people line their closets or have little cedar things in their closets. Yeah, keeps the moths away.
And I use cedar chips when I winterize my garden beds. Put cedar chips in.
Oh, that's nice.
The winter.
Andy says that lilac vegetal is an old standard face and skin only, slight fragrance, not overpowering. Interesting. Oh, Love's Baby Soft. Yeah, I remember that. Oh, Gen Xers remember Love's Baby Soft. Yeah, I think we all had at least one of those. Of course, I showed my kissing potion that I still have.
Yeah. I think even my little sister did.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, it's funny because like here in Cambodia, there's like some brands like Suave and VO5, which are very common in the stores to buy as shampoo and conditioner.
I remember those from like the late 70s through about the mid 80s being real popular.
Exactly. Yeah. And then you don't really see them in the US as much anymore. And it's like there's like a whole they're very prominent here.
Yeah.
And they have some kind of like Gatsby male hair product. I don't know if it's like a pomade or what. White shoulders. Oh, that was a nice baby powderish kind of white shoulders was
Yeah.
nice. That just reminds me of like grandma smell. It's like I don't know why. Maybe my grandma used to have it. I don't know.
Maybe.
Yeah, my cats are quiet today.
Mhm. Mr.
Oh my
Houdini
gosh.
wants to play.
There's like an open window and they all snuck out.
Or they went out a mousing.
Yeah. Oh, I see baby Wilbur up on top of the bunk bed.
Mm.
So that's a good sign. Lilac is Chalet's favorite flower.
Mm.
Nice.
They are a pretty flower.
Yeah. In Georgia, that my friend taught me how to drink the honeysuckle. And oh, I miss that. I wish I could grow some honeysuckle. There was one time I was in a small city called Kampot, and there was honeysuckle. And I was just like, oh my gosh. And I'm like, drinking as much of it as I could. The poor bees I didn't leave any for the bees. I took it all.
So honeysuckle is actually good to, you can make a tea out of it.
Oh,
and you
yeah.
can also cook with it.
Really?
Yeah. In fact, I think, yeah.
I love eating flowers.
Yeah, this is dehydrated honeysuckle here.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. I want me some of that. Oh, gardenia. Yeah, gardenias are nice.
Yeah.
Your best friend had that and it felt grandma-ish to you. The gardenia. Yeah, like gardenias are very similar to jasmine, I think, in the family
Yeah.
tree of plants.
Yeah.
We have a tree here called frangipani or champai, and that it's a tree, but it has I'm thinking magnolia. It's very, because it's got those big, thick, waxy leaves.
Mm-hmm.
That remind me of magnolia, and the scent is very strong on them as well.
Mm. Get magnolias growing here. Got more pine trees than we do anything else, but matter of fact, when we cleared the property before we put the house out, they cut down a whole bunch of. I had them cut down all the little pines and leave my oaks. So I've got a plethora of oaks, which means I got a ton of squirrels and rabbits and deer.
Nice.
Yeah. And
Night blooming jasmine. I have that here on my property where I live now, so I do get that smell.
Never heard of night blooming jasmine before. That's cool. I may have to look, see if I can find some, see if it'll grow here.
Yeah, it's really. I mean, you catch you're walking down the street or whatever, and you catch a whiff of it. It's just like, wow, where is that? And you don't see it because it's like a vine that's climbing on around. You're like, where is it?
Yeah, it's like this year the garden that I'm planning a lot of stuff that's friendly to the pollinators.
Good. Yeah, the bees need help. We need bees.
Yeah.
There was a beehive in my yard, and all the Cambodians were going, there's a beehive. Look. Come on, is the bee. And I'm like, yay! Oh, up on your hat. I mean, no problem. It's good.
Yeah.
Because it's not too close to the house. It's in the tree, in the corner of the property. So it's like that's a good place for it.
Yeah. Now I'm going to be planting. I want to plant. The loofah squash. Butterfly peas,
Yeah.
chicory root, and Jerusalem artichokes.
Oh, nice, nice. Wow. You've got a lot planned.
Mm-hmm.
So my pet nanny, Stremau, she gave me this video. Let me. See, it's the same thing as the loofah.
Yeah.
She's got a really big hand. Whoops,
Yeah.
this way.
But
Where? Tom Tom means big, big.
yeah.
Where? Oh, there it is. I can't see it too well.
Hmm.
The light. But anyway, oh, wait. Whatever. So she was so excited about her. I think they call it soursop here.
Mm.
And they make soup. They cook with it. They make soup with it and everything.
Yeah. From what I understand, the loofah squash is actually really tasty if you get it when it's about 2.5 to 3 inches long. Before it gets big and becomes the loofah,
Yeah.
From
Yeah,
what
they eat it all the time here. And
yeah.
Chalet says it grows great where she is, and she likes it. She also mentioned that the white shoulders is a gardenia smell, has gardenia in it.
No, from what I understand too, that like I've never planted the loofah or the Jerusalem artichokes before. But my understanding from all the research I've done, as long as you leave the tubers in the ground, they won't rot. But as soon as you expose them to air, they rot really, really quickly.
Oh, wow.
Like 72 hours before they're too. So a lot of the stuff that I've seen, videos and things that I've read, people will when it's time to harvest, will harvest what they need, what they're going to eat for that meal that night, and just leave the rest in the ground.
Yeah, wow.
And the next spring, whatever's left in the ground grows. It's a perennial. So,
well, that's one thing I noticed really quickly when I moved here to Cambodia, is that the food will rot faster, and that's because it's actually healthier and doesn't have all the preservatives in it.
Yeah.
So whether it's vegetables or bread, I mean, you only want to get a small amount, to use up, in fact, most people, will shop daily.
Yeah.
They'll get what they need for that day because they don't have refrigeration. A lot of people don't have refrigerators.
See,
I mean, in the last 5 years, there's a lot more, but
see, if we had markets, actual real food markets, I would love to do that, because in Houston they used to have a bunch of open air markets, and because of whatever reason, they've slowly died off because of import and export laws and rules and stuff. The last 6 years, I mean, about the last 6 years, they just got hit hard and just kind of died out.
That's sad.
Yeah. Now we have a local farmers market that's every Saturday, and they have some really good stuff. And and that's where I like to go. I'd rather go spend my money at some local farmer than give it to a big box store.
Yeah, for sure. Sure. And it's going to be healthier too.
Especially with the like our local honey that's locally produced.
They say for allergies, one of the best things you can do is have local honey, because it's made from the flowers that are causing your allergies. And so it helps you adjust, so that you don't have an allergic reaction.
About the only thing that tears me up is like your pine pollen and your oak pollen, your tree pollens. In the
Yeah.
springtime, especially
Yeah.
a lot of times when I hike in the springtime, I'll wear a mask.
Mm.
And when I get done hiking, there'll be like a sheen of just green on it from the airborne pollens from the
Oh
trees.
my goodness. Yeah.
Yeah.
And to imagine that you would, if you didn't have that mask on, that would
Yeah.
have been going in your lungs.
What, and the irony of it is beforehand, before the pandemic, I would go hiking without the mask, and I would just accept the fact that I was, for 2 or 3 days later, I was going to have sinus issues and coughing up crap out of my lungs. And
Mhm.
because of the pandemic, I mean, we've got a whole bunch of masks
Mhm.
because a lot of the places around here, like HEB, which is a Texas grocery store, and a bunch of the stores like that gave away masks. You know, you make a purchase of more than X number of dollars, they gave you a free mask.
I see. Uh-huh.
And which I thought was really cool
Mhm.
because they're high quality masks. And one of the ones they gave away has a thing in, you put a carbon filter in, it has a pocket, you put a carbon filter in.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
Mm.
as it was weird here during the pandemic because you had the locals that were all about, oh, we don't have to wear a mask. Then you had all the college kids and all the college, people associated with college that swore by them.
Mhm.
And Huntsville was just really weird during that time.
Wow. Yeah, and in Asia, because of like SARS and bird flu and stuff like that, they're random, and even just pollution,
Yeah.
random people would wear masks. So it wasn't uncommon to see people with a mask on before COVID happened. But
Uh-huh.
but then after that, I mean, it pretty much, I for a long time, it wasn't like an actual mandate
Mm-hmm.
here, but it was like recommended, it was optional. It's funny because like the first year when everybody else was super locked down,
Mm-hmm.
we didn't have we were taking measures. There
Yeah.
were, there were implementations, but it wasn't, nobody was locked down until the next year.
Mm-hmm.
Then we had a breakout, and so we had certain areas that got locked down, but not the whole country.
Yeah.
And so yeah, then we had a little bit of it. But for me, I was at that point, I was working for the newspaper, so I had like a pass,
Yeah.
and because I had to go report the news. Well, I was an editor, but
Mhm.
I had to go into the office to edit the news.
Yeah.
And
I'm
so
like,
then, but it was great because there'd be no traffic at all going home.
yeah.
There'd be these police blockades, but I'd show my pass and I'd go through. Is no
Mhm.
problem. Yeah. So we had it really good here in Cambodia, I think, overall.
Yeah. Sounds like it. I know my father, when he was stationed in Korea in the late 70s, would send us pictures and stuff. And when he was stationed over there, and some of the people were wearing masks, even back in the late 70s. So,
Yeah.
and a lot of them were like people on like the rice paddies and, doing farm work and stuff.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
But
Yeah, that's what I mean. In Asia, it's not a big deal.
Yeah.
To see, it's not some kind of statement or
Mhm.
anything if you have one or don't have one.
Mhm.
But right now, yeah, and right now I'd say it's like half and half of people that
Yeah.
wear them or not. I always have one in my bag, and if I'm in an elevator, and if I'm in an elevator alone, I'm not going to put one on. But if I'm in an elevator and there's like, more than, two people, you're kind of standing away from each other.
Mhm.
You got 5 or 6 people in the elevator. It's like, I'm gonna put my mask on.
And that's pretty much what I do. It's more situational. I always have one in a pocket. I always, always have one with me. And actually I carry two because I have, and that you just always, for some reason, it seems like I always will get something on one of my masks and put it on and start sneezing. And it gets soaked with snot and stuff. So I have to switch out the mask. But,
Oh goodness.
no, no, like going to, like if me and my wife are going to go out to a movie or something, we'll wear masks because you've got a bunch of people in a small area.
Yeah, yeah.
And right now we're having whatever the current variant is we're having an uptake in that. And you're getting a few breakthrough. I know a couple of people that had breakthrough that are fully vaxxed, but 24, 48 hours, they're back to normal again.
Yeah.
And a lot of them a lot of people around here will take it upon themselves, if they do test positive, to go ahead and self-quarantine for a week.
Right.
But there's no mandate or anything for it. They just they do it themselves.
And on Monday nights, I tutor a group of girls, about 8 girls that live in a dormitory. And the dormitory is run by a charity, so the charity pays for the tutoring. And one of the girls, sent me a message yesterday about 2 hours before class, saying that she tested positive for COVID, so she's going to have to miss class. And so I said, okay, thank you. Did you tell the school? I mean, the dorm, the lady that runs the dorms. She said she was getting ready. She was going to inform them next. I said, okay. And so, and then I wrote her and I said, look, she's just testing positive now. She could have already exposed other girls in the dorm. I feel like I need to cancel class tonight. We'll wait and we'll see what, by next week, everything should be fine. Whatever, will have run its course by next week, hopefully, but we'll know. And then she goes, yeah, okay. She said the girls all go home to their families outside of Phnom Penh on the weekend. And so here now she's come back, so she probably picked, I think she was trying to say she probably picked it up from the country, from visiting her parents and her family. And so she's probably isolated and not like all the girls in the dorm. But I'm like, this is all typing in text messages, right?
Yeah.
You're not really going into all the detail. But I'm thinking, yeah, okay, that may be where she got it. But I mean, there's like 6 girls to a room. I mean, who's to say the other girls in that room? And then, I mean, we'll just wait and see. If it doesn't go around, great. We're back on schedule for next week. But if, and so they were totally understanding and said, if that's how you feel, it's okay. No problem. I mean, it's me. I'm the one that's losing money.
Yeah.
They're not losing money. I mean, they're saving money.
Will they pay you by class or?
I get paid by the hour, 25 an hour, or 20, maybe 22. I don't know. Something is somewhere between 20 and 25.
That ain't bad.
Yeah. And then I have another private tutoring that I do. That's 25 an hour. And I tutor 2 hours a week, but that's like 2 hours on Saturday.
Yeah. What do you tutor?
Just English skills. So sometimes I'll have actual lessons that we'll go over.
or some pronunciation exercises, and sometimes it's more just like having some conversation. So they're learning more vocabulary,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm correcting their pronunciation. They're learning, they're having listening skills because we're having conversation.
Yeah.
And then it's kind of rambling sometimes, especially with the private tutoring. So like she was asking about Hamas and everything. Israel and Hamas and like what's happening in the Middle East, because she actually had a trip planned on the 28th to fly to Jordan.
Mm-hmm.
And she was going to go from Jordan to Egypt
Mm-hmm.
and everything. And I'm like 2 weeks ago when this broke, I said, no, can't cancel it. She goes, I'm thinking of cancel. I said, yes, cancel it. You don't want to be over there right now. You know?
Canceling is a good thought.
Yeah. So she did. She canceled. Now so we were talking more about that. And I talked about like, well, there was this guy named Abraham.
Mm-hmm.
He had 2 sons. One was Isaac. One was Ishmael. And it's like,
But yeah, no.
So I said they're really all brothers. They're all family, but they have this division between, Muslims and Hebrews or Jewish.
Mm-hmm.
We talk about the history of the region and how the land. Okay, this point these people were in the land, and then these people were in the land, and then these people were in the land, and these,
Mm-hmm.
and so like whose land is it really? Pick a year, and you can say, well, it's ours. Pick a different year, and it's someone else's.
Yeah.
So just trying to help them have critical thinking as well. To look at like there's a bigger picture. I try to never be too biased about anything.
My father always referred to critical thinking as being able to think around corners.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah.
Being able to think around corners.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the thing. Growing up, we would do. For us, for as kids, we looked at them as games, and that's how they were presented. But it was critical thinking, is what it was. He'd lay out a puzzle, a verbal puzzle or something. You had to analyze through the puzzle to get to the answer.
Right, exactly. It's the logic. It's being able to use logic and to see it. There's a point A, there's a point B. It's almost like gravity, too. I mean, if you throw a ball in the air, it's going to come back down. Being able to understand how things react, how consequences, and things that point A to point B to point C. Yeah, it's all together. It's being able to sort things out.
Yeah, there used to be a group of us that would meet on like Wednesday nights and just kind of hang out and eat and not really fellowship, just kind of meander through subjects. And one of the guys that would come and show up was a professor, and he would lay stuff out, to basically get you to think about consequences. He called it looking down the road of unintended consequences. This sounds like it'll work and be really good now, but how can that be manipulated and mutated in the future?
Right.
How somebody could take something that, say, a law or something that's made today, and 10 years from now use it, unethically. That was always fun.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I bet those discussions were great.
Yeah.
I mean, did you hear about Mao Zedong in China, and what he did with the sparrows?
Mm-mm.
I hadn't heard it either until I moved here, and it is quite a normal story over here that he ordered everybody to, because the sparrows were interfering with the farmers,
Yeah.
right? And so he ordered everybody to like kill all the sparrows, and they did.
Mm-hmm.
Then all the insects, that you didn't have the sparrows to eat the insects, and so then the insects, it killed everything or whatever, because it was an unintended consequence.
Yeah.
In Australia, there's a famous thing too with frogs, that they released some kind of frog into the environment, and it like totally like messed up the ecosystem.
Yeah.
Isn't
Australia where they have the big long fence?
Yes.
For the rabbit.
The rabbit fence.
The rabbit fence. Yeah.
Yeah. There's a film with that title, and it's very good.
Yeah.
Excellent film. And it made me realize that America and the Native Americans, it wasn't the only country where the Aboriginal people, the indigenous people, were treated that way.
Oh yeah.
Australia did it, and I guess most colonies it happened.
Yeah. The French did it all through the Orient.
Yeah, for sure. I see that here.
Yeah.
Remnants of it.
Yeah. But that's why I find it highly interesting that like India is in the process of reverting back to their pre-colonization name.
You
and
mentioned
once that
that
happens, I want to see what other country, if it's a domino effect or not.
Well, there's already quite a few that, Burma, became Myanmar. Siam was Thailand's name. It was what the British called Thailand.
Mm-hmm.
Turkey changed its name.
Yeah.
Czechoslovakia, well, obviously they weren't part of. They changed their name, like the Czech Republic.
Yeah.
But they also changed the spelling of it or something too, I think. I don't know.
I think so, yeah. But no, it's just interesting. Just because I think it would be cool if they went back to their pre-colonial names.
Mm-hmm. I know, but then all our maps have to be redone.
Oh well.
Keeps the map companies in business.
Well, they had to redo the maps after when Germany reunited. So, and when the Soviet Union fell.
Yeah.
So, redoing the maps is something they do every now and again. It's good for the map makers.
Yep.
But no, it's interesting. Cat's over here knocking stuff off one of my tables in my room. Yeah, if you go back and watch this, you'll see me turn and roll my eyes and point.
I just ignore it and then let my pet nanny clean it up the next day.
And
so lazy.
What
I was looking at some pictures because I was, for the travel vlog on Thursday, so I'm not last minute with it, because I was thinking maybe I'd do Hong Kong or maybe I just do Cambodia, and I came across a folder of pictures of like my childhood, and I'm like looking through them, and I'm just like, oh my gosh, there's a snarky picture. Oh my gosh, there's another snarky picture. Oh my gosh, there's my daughter being with the snarky, I mean, because that's a thing before you came on kind of on board. Chalet and I discovered, just Chalet was around, that it kind of came to my awareness that I can have snarkiness without realizing it. And like the office place in particular, need to make sure that's tempered. And then I started seeing it in these pictures. Like, oh my gosh, I was snarky back then, So then I was thinking, oh, well, maybe I should share some of those. Like, I don't know if I should share it like with Gen X on Gen X night, because it's not really travel log, but it's like growing up Gen X.
Yeah.
You know, so maybe I'll share some of those tomorrow.
I
But it was
don't know.
really funny.
My wife's convinced that Gen X people have sarcasm and snarkiness in our sweat. You know, it's a pheromone for us.
It is. It is. Oh goodness. So, all righty. Well, I'm tired tonight. I haven't done a lot today, but I don't know. I've kind of been tired all day, so
I understand.
I think we'll end it for tonight. But gosh, it's been great having everybody here. You know, making sure we got Delphi covered and out of the way, and then Halloween and perfumes and flowers and all kinds of a great ramble tonight.
Yeah.
You know. So, all right. I love you guys so much. Thank you all for being here. Andy, Chalet, Lemoyne, and anyone else who dropped in, but just wanted to stay in the background. Appreciate you being here. And tomorrow is Gen X. So hope to see everybody then. Okay, bye.
Peace. Take care. Be safe.